Either or music animes are always a hit or miss for me because obviously they are in Japanese and I don't understand what they are singing most of the time. Yeah, I'm basically part of the group of people that just hear music as beeps and boops and listen to certain music because they sound good rather than listening to the meaning behind the lyrics.
The beeps and the boops are very pleasing.
Maybe that's why I rarely watch or get into any anime that focuses solely on the musical aspect, but goddamn, when I found out about Paripi Kome, or also known as Ya Boy Koming, I was honestly shocked at how good it is. Just hearing the opening alone was able to hook me on the series. I mean, talk about first impressions, am I right? Now, Paripi Kome is a manga adaptation done by PA Works, and for a studio that mostly works on original animes, I was definitely surprised at how well they managed to adapt the manga. The fact that the anime as of making this video on Mao has a higher score than the manga says a lot about how good the adaptation is doing. So basically, the story of Paripi Kome starts like this. We have the famous war strategist Zhuge Liang, or also known as Kong Ming, from the Three Kingdom period, who on his deathbed had wished to be reborn in a world of peace and prosperity. And nearly 2 millennia later, he would awaken to find himself in a very different world than that of his past life. Apparently, he has reincarnated or time traveled, whichever you want to call it, to modern day Japan, more precisely Shibuya on Halloween night. When he is brought to a nightclub, he would witness Aiko Sukumi, an aspiring singer who works at the club. After hearing her singing voice, he became captivated by it, and the unlikely duo would somehow form a friendship with each other. With his reputation as a wise tactician and Aiko to help him navigate this strange new world, he would help her to achieve her dreams of becoming the greatest singer in the world. Now, the plot itself sounds fairly simple and definitely weird in a good way, but I can honestly say that it's a really good series. It's a mishmash of different genres like music, comedy, reincarnation, and time travel, with a few historical elements thrown in for good measure, and on the surface, it seems like it's not supposed to work, but it somehow does. And trust me, just from watching episode 1, you'll be impressed by how good the show is, because I know I did. This scene from episode 1 was what sold me on the show because story-wise, Zhuge Liang had lived a life of constant fighting and he even witnessed all of his comrades passing away. He was fighting a tiring battle to keep alive a dream he had made with his comrades, only to find out that in the end, Shu had fallen to the Sima clan. Seeing how he was contemplating about his new life, this melancholy and heartbreaking moment perfectly reflected Aiko's song with his feelings. I can see why he fell in love with her voice. The fact that later in the episode, he wanted to help Aiko to achieve her dreams as a way to make it up to his past comrades just feels so wholesome. But anyways, another aspect that makes the show fun to watch is the way they incorporated strategies or stories from the Three Kingdoms to help progress Zhuge Liang and Aiko's journey, and even using it as jokes or running gags. The author has obviously done his research, and if you're a fan of the Three Kingdoms, you definitely enjoy the references. However, because the Three Kingdoms is constantly referenced, it might be a bit confusing for fans that aren't familiar with the Three Kingdoms, so there's a chance that they'll miss the references or jokes and simply dismiss them. In any case, don't worry too much about not getting some of the references because the show is able to thoroughly explain everything seamlessly without making it feel like unnecessary information dumps. But having said that, the story itself is already good, but what makes it stand out even more is definitely the characters, especially when it comes to Zhuge Liang and Aiko. For Zhuge Liang, the author did such a good job at capturing his thought process and how someone like him would adapt to the new world he is in. He doesn't feel like a fish out of water and feel more like a fish that was placed in a better pond and is somehow thriving. Of course, the way he is able to grasp and adapt to the world isn't too unrealistic as well because he is a man of culture, quite literally, and his fascination with everything will make anyone smile. And not to mention his rapping skill kind of slaps. As for Aiko, she's just a lovable character and her expressions whenever she gets flustered or angry are really funny. Her character also serves as a great contrast to Zhuge Liang and her boss whenever they talk about anything Three Kingdoms related, being like the straight man of the group. Additionally, Aiko just feels like such a relatable character because like many people, we are all afraid of the future and I'm sure a lot of people have their own dreams, but most of the time, we are forced to give up on them whether we like it or not. So seeing her still holding on to her dreams until the very last moment when she finally meets Zhuge Liang who helps rekindle her motivation just feels so inspiring. Both of them are just amazing together and the character dynamic she has with Zhuge Liang is definitely one of my favorite aspects about the show. For the side characters, they are on the weaker side and they are mostly the typical tropey characters, although I do like how the boss of the nightclub is like a super fan of the Three Kingdoms and the way he cares about Aiko is really sweet as well. Now, being made by PA Works, the animation and art style looks decent with the standard level of quality that one would expect for modern animes. The character designs are really well done, especially when it comes to the expressions, and often you are treated to some smooth movements from characters as well. The world itself feels flashy and extremely stylized thanks to the use of vibrant color palettes to make each of the scenes stand out. They really did a good job at capturing the whole nightlife atmosphere and neon environment of Shibuya. However, there are occasions where some scenes feel like still images, but because of how well drawn they are, it becomes less like a drawback and more like a design choice. Overall, everything looks great and it really fits the tone they are going for while having its own unique style. But for me, the biggest highlight is definitely the insanely high quality music and sound design of the show. The opening Chiki Chiki Banban sung by Queendom is easily one of the catchiest anime openings this season has to offer, or maybe even the year. It has a 90s to 2000s Eurobeat vibe, and I don't know why, it just feels nostalgic. Even though it's only a cover of a Hungarian song, it still sounds so good in Japanese, and the dance animation for it just makes you want to dance along with Zhuge Liang and the other characters. But it's not just the opening that's a banger, even the ending and basically any other songs that Aiko sings totally slaps. PA Works definitely made the right choice by having 96 Neko as the singer, and her voice is just incredible. All I can say is, I watched Parabi comment for Best Waifu Zhuge Liang but stayed for 96 Neko and her singing. And according to manga readers, we'll get to see the cast of characters exploring different genres of music as well, which I'll be looking forward to. Honestly, I will be expecting more great things to come for Parabi Komen, but one thing is for certain, the overall balance between the characters and the connections to the overall story are able to blend together so nicely with its musical elements. It's honestly a great anime to check out even if you're not a huge fan of music animes or Three Kingdom stuff. It might not be complex, but this show is definitely a lot of fun, and for me, it's probably one of the most underrated animes that Spring 2022 has to offer. So trust me, when you start watching Parabi Komen, you'll never be able to leave your boy Kongming because his strategies are too powerful. Anyways, that's it for my review on Parabi Komen, and hopefully I convinced you to watch it. And if you are watching it, please let me know in the comments down below what do you think of the show. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell for more anime content in the future. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe everyone.